You're listening to the Otis Jiry channel.
Lux Refrain by Megan J. Meehan. Performed by Otis Jiry. Coney Island, Brooklyn, New York. Fast Freddy died slow. He'd been on his way out for damn near 2 decades. In most respects, he died with Lucky. Lucky, an ironic nickname since there was nothing lucky about Lucy O'Toole's life. Freddie just started calling her that when they was kids because he went to marbles whenever she was with him. In the 1920s and 30s, us scraggly Brooklyn kids ran wild. We lived near Coney Island, home of the Cyclone and the Wonder Wheel, but entry into that paradise required money, something none of us had. Back then, you'd never know Lucky would become such a looker. She always had great blue eyes, but when she hit her teens, she sprouted an hourglass figure. Legs she should have insured and dyed her hair, her brown hair platinum blonde. The look suited her. She never wanted for attention. It must have hurt Freddie to watch her hanging on other guys' arms. I don't think he ever got a leg over, but he was nuts about her. In 1941, Lucky was sashaying around in jewels and heels like some Hollywood dame while Freddie worked the carnival games, and I sold tickets to the freak show and drank like my old man. Flat feet got us both out of the military service. I survived, but Freddie thrived. He knew how to hustle and make a fast buck, not enough to buy a mansion, but enough to keep himself on easy street. Meanwhile, Lucky played mistress to Robbie Roses, a mobster with big money who got her an apartment in Manhattan. She left Brooklyn before the fire in '44 and was spared the sight of cash-strapped Coney Island becoming a tacky shell of itself. Freddie swore the neighborhood was cursed without Lucky. He couldn't see what she'd become, haughty, indifferent, entitled, bitchy. He'd snap at me if I said one snide thing about her. On his rare days off, he'd take the train into Manhattan just to walk past her building. One night, he wandered into a Times Square bar, got loaded up on booze, and got a Lady Luck tattoo on his forearm with a figure and face identical to Lucky's. If Robbie had seen it, his henchman probably would have cut Freddie's arm off. If you ask me, back in 1950, which of my buddies was most likely to end up dead, I'd have said Freddie, but it was Lucky who got whacked. Body was found in 1951 in a Surf Avenue alley, beaten so bad she couldn't have an open casket funeral. Her case went unsolved, but Freddie was convinced that Robbie had killed her in a jealous rage. Even after Robbie got gunned down in '53, Freddie spent his life mourning her. Love makes you do crazy things. So does booze. In 1967, Freddie was as crazy as a shithouse rat, and Coney Island was overrun with gangs. Occasionally, Freddie would spot some bottle-blonde hooker and run down the street calling Lucky's name. Got himself beat sometimes. One night we were drinking in the abandoned steeplechase, a forgotten relic of our youth. Freddie was coughing, wheezing, and complaining about pains. Then he burst into tears, rambling about how Lucky hadn't lived to see the aquarium. I'm not sure what else was said, but somehow I ended up talking. It happened by chance, if not entirely by accident. I'd been drinking at the Clam when I spotted Lucky walking toward Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs, Freddie's main hangout. I chased her down and cornered her against the dumpster. Desperate for cash, I told her I wanted $2,000 or I'd tell Robbie she was screwing Freddie. "You'll kill him," I said. She knew it was true. Temper flaring, she clawed at me with her long red fingernails, so I grabbed a brick and smashed her face over and over and over again. I was drunk, I was mad, and I was covered with blood. Somehow I'd managed to get back to my squalid apartment unseen. 16 years after the broad's murder, I told Freddie I was sorry. And I was, because he was the closest thing I ever had to a friend. He slumped against the crumbling funhouse wall, eyes on his tattoo, and smiled softly, relieved to finally know the truth. "Lucy," he whispered, and breathed his last. I'd confessed and still gotten away with it. Maybe I'm the one Lady Luck favors after all.